for General Hospital, June 13th, 2025. Okay, so first things first, let me know y'all thoughts on today's episode down below. Hold on, let me turn this off. Let me see. Okay, go down to participant mode, 20 minutes. Okay, hold on. There you go. Okay, yeah. Let me know y'all thoughts on today's episode. I thought they was gonna show Willow on today's episode. I thought they was gonna do a continuation. Well, they partly did a continuation because they showed Drew and Martin talking. But yeah, at the end of the episode, Drew told Jason he want him to take a proposal to Michael, and look like he telling him on next week's episode that until Willow realizes it herself, then there's be no compromise. I said exactly. I said, you know what? At first when he was talking to Martin and stuff, I was like, oh, he finna finally leave her alone. Look at there. But then I thought about it. I was like, he's still trying to make himself look good. And either way it goes, she really gonna have to see it for herself. Cause until she do, all they gonna do is okay. Let's say he do leave town or whatever. She gonna feel some type of way. She gonna be saying the same thing she said in the courthouse. She gonna be saying the same thing she said in the courthouse about Michael being controlling and all that. That she had to lose the love of her life and what she said. Understand? She's like she shouldn't have to choose. That's what she said. But yeah, I was waiting to see her see what she looked like. If I said no, they got some more to go. Do y'all think they finna abandon the storyline about Nina and Drew sleeping together? Let me know down below. I was like, they still haven't addressed it all this time. But okay, so we're gonna start with Jason and Sonny. So they was just talking about Willow, the fact that Michael won custody, and how everything is happening with Willow or whatever. And I think he said something about, does anybody know how she's doing? I said, I hate when they do that. I really dislike when they do that. So they knew. I wanted to see them finding out that she was in the hospital. What they say? Drew wants Jason to take Michael proposal, but it doesn't look like that's not gonna happen. Yep. He said until Willow realizes it, there'll be no compromise. And he right, because he trying to take the easy way out. Because even if he leaves town, she gonna view it as, oh, Michael was being controlling. That she had to lose the man that she loved or whatever just to get her kids back, and how that's not fair. But yeah, first they were talking about Willow and everything she's going through and how, Drew's to blame. Then they start talking about the Natalia situation. Sonny tells Jason Natalia's starting to be a real problem for him. So then what they ended up, he said Belize. Did he say Belize? I think he said Belize. That's where he told her she could have a new identity and all that. She'll be taken care of. She over here talking about some, she know that she doesn't have a good relationship with her kids, but she would like to have one. I said, well, you better get them a ticket. You better get the buying them a ticket to come see you. Well, I take that back, because if she under a new name, they can't go see her unless Sonny and them arrange it probably. And I was like, we don't see you anyway. Might as well go and take that deal. Might as well, cause that 88 lady, she steady trying to take Sonny and Jason down. Okay, hold on, let me see. Drew and Nina's secret won't come out for a long time. That's what it looked like, and that's like, oh my goodness. But it definitely looked like it's not gonna come out no time soon, y'all. Nita, what about the storyline with what's his name? Cause he's supposed to be on Monday's episode. Brandon and Josh them. Do y'all think that's gonna come out anytime soon? But yeah, looked like they came up with a deal where she could go to Belize or whatever. And he was telling her about it. No, I wasn't supposed to say that right now. Drew and Martin. Drew was just talking to Martin because he wanted to see if they could appeal the decision. Martin was saying something about he expected it to be 60-40 or whatever. So, and something about it don't usually go like that. So I was like, are they saying that something happened behind the scenes? Did the judge really get paid off? I think regardless, it was good, and Willow needed to hear what she heard. If she heard it, we don't even know if she heard it because she had a mental breakdown. Maybe they'll show her actually thinking back to what the judge said. But yeah, like I said, Drew and Martin was just talking about appealing the decision, and he was like, you can't do that or whatever. That's just gonna further prove it. And he ends up confirming the judge's decision about everything that Willow has done. And I said, exactly. I said, well, Nina a part of the problem too. I seen a lot of people saying that. They was like, Nina is a part of the problem too, her and Drew. I said, exactly. These folks could have been talked this out, but y'all kept on interfering. Kept on. Now look at her laid up in the bed. What else? Let's see if there's anything else. I think when they was talking, Martin was saying how he thinks that Michael would make a deal or whatever, that he's not completely heartless, and that's when Drew admitted that he's not exactly like the Quartermain, so he might be able to make a deal, and that's why he called Jason. Jason came there, he was like, I'm here, what do you want? And he basically said it'll be best for everybody, he willing to make a deal, but he need him to take the proposal to Michael or whatever, because they still have a good relationship. And Michael said, not Michael, Jason said you had one too before you messed it up. I said, right, exactly. Over here trying to make a deal and stuff. Still trying to make yourself look better than what you is. But yeah, I think let me see. I think Drew was talking to Martin about, leaving town. He's like, "Are you really considering that?" I said, "Don't tell him that. He need to do something. He need to do something." But that wasn't gonna work out either way it go. And he definitely gonna be mad, and he gonna decide to take matters into his own hands next. Yeah, Drew talked about ending things with Willow to Martin, and that's when he talked to Jason or whatever. Okay, what's the next thing? Brooklyn and Tracy. First, Brooklyn was on the phone with Maxie. She told her to come over. They was gonna work from the house or whatever. That's when Tracy stopped her, and they got to talking about how she's doing. And Tracy assumed that Brooklyn was gonna let the situation with Lulu go. And that's a whole another thing. How do y'all feel about that? How do y'all feel about the continuation of Brooklyn and Lulu beefing with each other or being into it with each other? How do y'all feel about that? I know some people team Brooklyn, some people team Lulu or whatever. I'm not team nobody. I try to see both sides. Now I was with some things I'm with Lulu about, because I don't agree with everybody just fully blaming her. I mean, she is the one who blew everything up. But I think Brooklyn needs to start taking accountability as well. Then you got Chase and I'm about to say Chase and Michael. You got Chase and what's his name? Dante over here arguing. Look like they getting put in a doggone jail cell. And I said, Dante hard headed. She just told him not to bring that to work or whatever, or she's gonna have to interfere. And look at there, in a jail cell. But yeah, back to Brooklyn and Tracy. So they started talking about everything, and Brooklyn tried to get Tracy to see that if it was anybody else, she would be going after them. And I said the same thing. I said she definitely would. I said Tracy trying to still get revenge on Drew. Now I don't agree with her apologizing to Drew. Alexa told her to apologize. I was like, I wouldn't do that. He tried to set you up. I said, he tried to set you up. They need to prove that he tried to set her up. I said, before Drew leave town, he need to get what's coming to him, or whoever this is. It might not be Drew. Like they said, it might be Shiloh. It might be somebody else. But either way it go, he need to get what's coming to him before he dip up out of here. Hold on, y'all. But yeah, Trace, like I said, Trace was trying to convince her that it's best to just focus on your life and what you got or whatever. And she was like, she not gonna let this go, and she don't want her to say nothing else about it. And that's when she went over there. Might as well get them out the way. That's when she went over there to Maxie house. Meanwhile, Maxie and Lulu, she trying to tell her, you was wrong. You shouldn't have did it. It wasn't your place. And I said, yeah, that part I definitely agree with. She was reminding her that she blew up all their life, and she did admit. Lulu admitted that she didn't think about the long term effect that it would have on Rocco and Gigo. I said, you sure didn't, girl. I said, you definitely didn't. What else? Maxie was just trying to get them to squash it. And at first I was like, okay, finally they finna drop this. Lulu to my side, I don't know, apology. If anybody, I owe Gio an apology. I said, oh my goodness, this is never ending. What I want to know though, I want to know, why was Brooklyn meeting up with Marco? What did she do? I mean, what did she ask him? Like, is she planning on suing this girl or what? They need to go ahead and reveal that. But either way it go, you know how Max was trying to get them squashing and see that, their sons are brothers or whatever. And Brooklyn got up, she was like, yeah, for the sake of them, she willing to accept Lulu's apology. And that's when Lulu said, apology. She ain't apologizing to her, long story short. So I was like, okay. Even when Brooklyn said that, I said, Brooklyn definitely not letting it go. What y'all think? I was like, Brooklyn wasn't going to let it go. She was just saying it for Maxie's sake. She was not going to let that go. She just told Tracy that. You think Maxie giving a speech is going to stop her? She targeting Lulu like it ain't nothing. And this is never going to end. They might pull a Carly and Sam, or Carly and Elizabeth. Well, I don't think I seen Carly and Elizabeth. I seen them get into it, but not like Carly and Sam. They'll act like they cool or whatever. The next thing you know, they'll be back into it. But what else? Let's see. I think that was the end of the scene with Brooklyn and Lulu now. And Anna and Molly, they was talking about Natalia case and stuff. She said she handed it off to her, and that's when they seen that it was ADA Turner. And she's filling in for Robert. But Anna was wondering why, she's on that case instead of letting them handle it and stuff. They also got Chase working on the case. I was like, they doing anything to take Sonny down. I said, oh my goodness, do y'all think they ever gonna take him down? Let me know down below. The Lulu and BLQ both need to stop. He's a Delulu. Exactly. I said, when she got up, she was like, she don't owe nobody apology. I said, oh Lord, I said, it's not gonna end. I said, Lulu, you could at least do something. She could have been like, yeah, it wasn't my place to tell anything. As soon as she told me, I don't owe apology. I said, here they go. Oh, that's what Maxie was saying. She was saying how, What about Dante? Think about Dante, because you know both of y'all the mother of his children and everything. I said, I bet they eat Lulu alive. Lulu mad. Lulu mad. But what else? What else? We didn't finish with Anna and Molly. They were just talking about, you know, what 88 Turner got going on, but I'm assuming she gonna put two and two together and figure out that she trying to take Sunny down still. I still feel like it's more to the story with 88 Turner versus them keep saying that she just trying to make a name for herself. I think she gonna have a storyline tied to either Anna, Emma, or somebody. Somebody. It's a reason why. I mean, of course she would want to do her job and stuff, but at the same time, it kind of feels like she has more at stake, or not. I ain't said it right. It kind of seems like it's more to the story, but we'll see down the line or not. Marco and Alexis and Natalia. Um, Marco, what was he talking about? Let me find it. I don't even think I wrote it down. I don't even write when he first came. But I know Natalia came, Marco and Alexis were talking about the deal, talk about her driving under influence and stuff like that, and how they was willing to get her a deal if she turns over everything she knows about Sonny. And that's when Alexis was like, she has to step back because, you know, that's Christina daddy as well as her friend. So she stepped back. But she did say that everything she said before that, you know, she can't say nothing because, you know, it's protected. So that's when Marco was trying to get her to tell what she has on him. She told it was on a flash drive in did she say a bank deposit or something like that? Did she tell Sonny that part? I don't know if she told Sonny that part. I know she said that she had it on her laptop. I don't know if she ever said that it was in a little bank deposit box or whatever. I said, he gonna go get it. It's something gonna happen. Some type of way he gonna get it. He gonna either turn it over to his dad or use it himself. We'll see though. But yeah, she was telling him, um, she did lie. What did she say? Marco wanted to know what she had on Sonny. I think she lied about something. What did she say? Oh, she said she didn't tell him. She ends up saying she didn't tell him. She didn't tip him off or nothing like that. And then when she was talking to Sonny, she was like, so my tipping you off basically, you know, sealed the deal with her having to relocate. And I said, you should have known that, girl. You don't sit up here and told him you had this type of information, and you could have been told him. Of course, of course. I wonder if she actually gonna leave. Like I said, we barely see her on the show anyway, so it really don't matter. Um, what happened else? I think later Marley came and he was asking her about the case. He wanted to know. Oh, he was also concerned about his mama's safety and stuff like that. But he was asking Molly. She was like, I don't know. All I know, you know, because I'm not on the case anymore. But I know she trying to make a name for herself and stuff like that. That's all they was talking about. I said, yeah, he finna know something. I think Natalia told him not to tell Sidwell. What else? Chase and Dante. So Dante made it, and I think Chase had asked him something, and he already had started. They had just started doing what they do, not doing what they do, but you know, arguing or whatever. And I think he asked him about a case or whatever. They said he couldn't work on it. Chase was the only one to work on it, so he didn't believe him. So that's when he went to Anna. Anna verified, and she was like, she can't do nothing about it. And he was just expressing his frustrations, expressing his frustrations or whatever. And so she was like, what's this about? Because y'all always, you know, being able to trust each other and stuff like this. So he revealed, you know, it's about the nurse ball, finding out that Chase knew about it. And she was like, you know, did you think that he was going to betray his wife? And he's like, no, but still, you know. And I said, true that, true that. He was like, he could have told her or tried to convince her to do the right thing. I mean, he did start saying that Dante had a right to know, but he stopped. He definitely stopped saying it. What else? She told him, let me refresh my notes. Let me flip to the back. Hold on. Make sure I cover everything. Anna said Dante doesn't have a right to express his feelings at work, and if he don't stop, basically she gonna handle it. And now she finna handle it because they showed them, look, both of them side by side, look like in a jail cell. She telling them to figure it out. And I said exactly. Um, and she also said she sees why, you know, Chase and them didn't say anything. Brooklyn didn't say anything. She brought up Robert and the fact that she didn't tell Robert that Robin was his. I don't know about that storyline because I wasn't, you know, watching back then. Matter of fact, I might not even have been born back then. I don't know. Probably not. But yeah, that's what they talk about. He was bald. You can tell by his face he was upset. Why he go out there and he verified to Chase that it was true. And he was like, you know, I haven't lied to you before. And then he brings up the time that he lied about, you know, Brooklyn and him having a child. He was like, that wasn't my secret to tell. And they started going back and forth. Dante started getting louder. And the police officer just back there looking at stuff. And here come Anna. And I said, I knew it was a matter of time. I said, he's so hard-headed. She told him to drop it. Now, he is entitled to how he feels because everybody seemed to forget that he had a right to know eventually, at least. Especially when, to me, in my eyes now, once everybody started finding out, it was, how do I say this? Once everybody started finding out, Dante definitely had a right to know. Because at first they were saying, you know, she was young, it was her choice, her body, her choice, and stuff like that. But then once she told Tracy, she told Chase, who else found out? Tracy told Jason, and it's like, okay, y'all don't think he as the father don't have a right to know? It just didn't need to come from Lulu, from Leslie Luke. But what else? Let me see, y'all. Let's see. Like I said, it look like they're gonna be in a jail cell on Monday's episode. Alexis and Tracy. Tracy wanted Alexis to sue Drew for custody of Scout, and she was like she didn't want to do that or whatever because you know Sam didn't want that. Sam trusted in his ability, you know, to look out for his daughter and love his daughter. I said, well, and she said also in the state of New York or whatever she said that Alexis has rights. I said that's true. So how that work, y'all? Y'all know about that? I said that's true. But yeah. And she didn't want to do it. She was like, she doesn't want to upend Scout's life. I was like, well, she couldn't upend it no more than it already is. Shoot, we ain't even seen poor Scout. We ain't heard nothing about Scout. I mean, we heard her name. But let's be real, this man be so focused on Willow and her kids or whatever. I don't even think he really cared about the kids, if we're being honest. If he did, he wouldn't have did that to Wiley the other day. But yeah, I was like, he don't care about Scout. Do y'all think Alexis will eventually try to get Scout from him? Or what? Let me know down below. What else? Let's see. Tracy thinks Alexis the key to that problem. She wants Alexis to sue Drew for custody of Scout. Lacey doesn't want to upend Scout's life, so she declines. So that's when she ends up saying, okay, well, what about, you know, everything that's going on? You know, he tried to frame her, and she was like, basically, it's not above you or beneath you to do something like that. And she was like, she didn't do it or whatever. And she said the only thing you could do is basically apologize to Drew. And I was like, don't apologize to him. She said that Tracy fate in Drew's hands. And I said, I wouldn't apologize to him. They need to be working on evidence to prove that he the one set her up. That's what they need to do. What else? I already said Dante hard-headed. I already said Drew wants Jason to take a proposal to Michael. Lulu doesn't think she owes Brooklyn an apology. Sonny offered Natalia a new identity and beliefs. I think this, let me see. Let me refer to these notes. I already talked about Marco and Molly. Yeah. Sonny, Natalia, Jason, Drew. Yeah, that's it. That's everything, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next review. Until next time, deuces. Have a great rest of the day, a great weekend, and be safe.